made conquer the universe. We were here 1,000 years before you. Well, in case you haven't heard it, Dragface.
You ever watch a movie that's so weird, so ambitious, and so unexpectedly emotional, you just sit there wondering how it even got made? That's Enemy Mine from 1985. It's got space battles, alien pregnancy, and a human bonding with a reptilian alien over survival. But trust me, what went on behind the scenes was even crazier than what made it to screen. Today, I'm giving you 15 weird facts about Enemy Mine that'll totally change how you see the film. Number 1. The first director was fired, and everything was scrapped. Enemy Mine had a seriously rough start. The film began production under director Richard Loncraine, known for British dramas. But almost immediately, things fell apart. The producers and studio were not happy with what they saw. Early footage, known as dailies, came back looking dull, lifeless, and worst of all, boring. The sets looked too Earth-like. The alien makeup looked like a cheap Halloween mask. The acting lacked chemistry. The vibe was off. After just a few weeks, Fox executives pulled the plug. They fired Loncraine, scrapped almost everything he shot, and halted production altogether. That included footage, sets, and even some actor contracts. This was a disaster, the kind of thing that kills a film entirely. The rare time something like this happens, it usually means millions of dollars down the drain. But Fox decided to gamble. They brought in a new director, Wolfgang Petersen, and gave him a chance to completely rebuild the movie from scratch. Very little from Loncraine's version survived, except maybe the concept and the lead actors. In short, Enemy Mine almost didn't exist because its first attempt was an unwatchable mess. Number 2. Wolfgang Petersen saved the film, but it was painful. Enter Wolfgang Petersen, a German filmmaker best known for Das Boot. When Fox offered him the ruined remains of Enemy Mine, he hesitated. But once he read the script and saw the story underneath, two enemies bonding in isolation, he saw potential. Petersen insisted on full creative control. That meant new locations, new sets, and a complete redesign of the alien species. He moved filming from cold, dreary Iceland to the Canary Islands, which had the volcanic, otherworldly landscapes he wanted. He also rebuilt the interior scenes on sound stages in Munich. His biggest fix? Making the Drac alien, Geri, actually look believable. The original rubber suit was dumped, and special effects artist Chris Wallace from The Fly was hired to create a new look. It took months, but the result was a fully expressive, emotionally complex alien design that helped make the film's emotional center work. The restart wasn't smooth. It cost millions, but Petersen's changes helped shape Enemy Mine into the cult classic it eventually became. Without him, it probably would have ended up as a science fiction joke.
English, too.
Shit.
Shit. What do you mean, shit?
No, solid.
Number 3. It's based on an award-winning science fiction story. Before it was a movie, Enemy Mine was a novella by science fiction author Barry B. Longyear, and it was already kind of a big deal. Published in 1979, the story won both the Hugo and Nebula Awards, the two most prestigious honors in science fiction literature. It appeared in Isaac Asimov's magazine and quickly became a standout for its emotional depth, unique world-building, and unusual structure. Longyear's version was more focused, with no scavenger subplot or space battles. Just two beings stuck on a planet, learning each other's languages, cultures, and how to survive. The baby Drac and the Geriba lineage? That's all from the original story. The movie expands the plot to include action and villains, but the heart of it, enemies becoming family, comes directly from Longyear's work. The novella's power lies in its simplicity, which is why many fans say the movie should have kept it even simpler. Still, adapting a story that won both major science fiction awards? That's a rare starting point for any film.
Hungry. You understand that? Hungry, huh?
Number 4. Dennis Quaid stormed off set after a lake refused to catch fire. One of the strangest behind-the-scenes moments from Enemy Mine happened during the original Iceland shoot, before the film was rebooted under Wolfgang Petersen. In one scene, Dennis Quaid's character, Davidge, was supposed to fire his weapon and ignite a small alien lake, creating a dramatic explosion. Sounds simple, right? Not even close. The pyrotechnics crew attempted the effect multiple times, but nothing worked. The lake just refused to ignite. Every take failed, and the shoot dragged on for hours in cold, uncomfortable conditions. Frustrated and fed up, Dennis Quaid finally stormed off set and went back to his trailer, refusing to continue until the special effects team got it right. According to production notes and Starlog magazine's on-set coverage, this was just one of many technical headaches that plagued the first version of the film. While the scene was eventually reshot in a different location under Petersen, the incident revealed just how tough the shoot really was, especially for Quaid, who was juggling action scenes, bad weather, and a script that was constantly changing beneath his feet. Number 5. Jerry gets pregnant. Yes, alone.
Zombies.
Zombies.
In one of the most unexpected plot twists in 1980 cinema, Enemy Mine features a male alien getting pregnant, without a partner. That's right, the Dracs reproduce asexually. Jerry, the alien who starts off as Davidge's enemy, later reveals he's pregnant. It's not treated like a gag. It's part of the species' biology and cultural tradition. What's wild is how sincere and emotional the movie makes this. Jerry even teaches Davidge to recite a lineage chant called the Geriba, which Drac children need to be accepted by their society. When Jerry tragically dies in childbirth, Davidge steps up and raises the baby, Zamis. It's touching, strange, and beautifully done. This twist not only pushes the boundaries of gender roles in science fiction, it also introduces powerful themes of family, legacy, and chosen responsibility. It's a rare move in mainstream 80s cinema and makes the film feel ahead of its time. Critics didn't know what to make of it then, but today, this storyline stands out as one of the most emotionally progressive parts of the movie. Number 6. The alien makeup was a literal nightmare. Louis Gossett Jr. played Jerry, the alien Drac, and he suffered daily for it. The makeup process was brutal. Designed by Chris Wallace, the prosthetics took 3 to 4 hours every morning to apply. We're talking full facial latex, scales, contact lenses, chest pieces, gloves, the works. Gossett had to act with all of this glued to his skin while keeping his expressions visible. On hot shooting days in the Canary Islands, it became a sweat-drenched nightmare. To make it worse, the Drac language involved complex throat sounds. Gossett had to wear heavy facial prosthetics while delivering alien dialogue and conveying emotional depth. Not easy, but he crushed it. His performance, despite all the layers of rubber and restrictions, is what made Jerry a fan favorite. You don't feel like you're watching a guy in a suit. You believe Jerry is real. And that's all thanks to Gossett's commitment. He later said it was one of the most physically demanding roles of his career, and the one he was most proud of.
I am not worthy, but there is no one else here.
Number 7. The Soviet Union loved this movie. While Enemy Mine bombed in America, it actually found a huge audience in the Soviet Union. Why? For one thing, it was one of the few Western science fiction films allowed wide distribution there. But more importantly, its message resonated deeply. A film about two enemies from opposing worlds forced to understand and care for each other? That struck a chord during the Cold War. To many Soviet viewers, the film symbolized peace through cooperation. It wasn't about one side winning, it was about both sides learning. The story echoed the global tensions of the time, but offered hope instead of destruction. The film's lack of flashy patriotism also made it more palatable abroad. It wasn't about American triumph, it was about human empathy, even if one of them wasn't human. Decades later, Russian science fiction fans still cite Enemy Mine as one of the most meaningful Western films of the 1980s. It's a reminder that sometimes a movie flops at home, but finds real power overseas.
Now you're a judge of character.
Do you not remember what you said, Baptisma?
Yo, maybe you forgot what you said about Mickey Mouse.
That was wrong.
Number 8. The budget went from tight to Titanic. Enemy Mine was supposed to be a moderately budgeted science fiction movie, coming in around $17 million. But after all the chaos, director change, production relocation, reshoots, the budget skyrocketed. By the time Petersen finished, the production had cost $29 million, and marketing pushed the total to $40 to $48 million, depending on the source. In 1985 dollars, that's a lot. For context, Back to the Future cost $19 million. Unfortunately, the box office didn't care. When Enemy Mine opened in December 1985, it made a pitiful $1.6 million its first weekend. Total domestic gross? Just $12.3 million. It didn't help that it opened alongside films like Rocky IV and The Jewel of the Nile. It quickly got overshadowed and pulled from theaters. Fox took a huge loss. The sad part? All that money did result in impressive sets, thoughtful effects, and beautiful cinematography. It just didn't translate to ticket sales. But years later, home video and cable would give Enemy Mine a second chance. And that's when it finally found its audience. Number 9. Louis Gossett Jr. based his alien voice on gargling as a kid. You know that deep, raspy, almost amphibian voice Louis Gossett Jr. used to play Jerry the Drac? It wasn't created in a sound studio or coached by a dialect expert. It was something he'd been doing since childhood. According to Gossett himself, the voice was inspired by a weird trick he used to do as a kid, talking while gargling. Yep, Gossett used to gargle liquids and try to hold conversations just to mess around. Years later, when trying to invent an alien sound for Jerry, he thought back to that childhood game and brought it into the performance. The result? A completely unique, alien-sounding dialect that didn't rely on digital processing. It gave Jerry that throaty, foreign cadence without feeling robotic or cartoonish. The producers loved it so much they kept it, and Gossett said it helped him physically embody the Drac, right down to the way Jerry moved and breathed. It's proof that sometimes your weirdest childhood habits can land you an iconic alien role.
What?
Number 10. PG rating problems. The UK's sanitized Enemy Mine. Did you know Enemy Mine had a strange little journey when it hit the UK? First off, the version British audiences saw in theaters wasn't the full film. It was cut down by about 15 minutes. The original movie runs 108 minutes, but for UK cinemas it was trimmed to around 93. Why? Mostly to secure a PG rating. The BBFC, British Board of Film Classification, asked for several edits, including removing a quick shot of a severed ear, just to tone down the violence. What's even weirder is that these cuts made the film feel more rushed and stripped of some key emotional moments, especially in a story all about unlikely friendship and survival. Luckily, the full version was restored later on DVD and Blu-ray, so fans in the UK finally got to see what they missed. So yeah, if you saw Enemy Mine in a British theater in 1985, you didn't quite see the real movie, just a sanitized version. Makes you wonder how differently the film was received because of those changes. Number 11. The lineage ritual is an alien version of a family tree.
Translate.
One of the most unique parts of Enemy Mine is the Geriba, a sacred lineage chant that Drax passed down through generations. When Jerry becomes pregnant and prepares to die, he teaches Davidge how to recite Zamus's family line, going back hundreds of years. It's not just a ritual, it's cultural survival. In Drax society, if a child cannot recite its lineage, it won't be accepted by its people. This scene hits hard. You realize Jerry isn't just worried about his baby living. He's worried about his child being rejected if Davidge can't get the chant right. In real life, the chant took a long time to film. It involved pages of alien language, rehearsals, and a long take that required emotional precision. Behind the scenes, Gossett Jr. and Quaid worked closely to make it feel authentic, like a religious rite. The idea of ancestral identity runs deep in many cultures, from Judaism to African tribal naming systems. And this alien version gives the movie a surprising spiritual resonance.
Sammy's get 4, 5?
No. You're a Drac. And I'm a human.
Number 12. Nobody knew how to market this movie. The biggest question for Fox after the film wrapped was, how do we sell this thing? Was it a science fiction war movie? A philosophical drama? A survival tale? A story about parenting? It was all of those. and none of them clearly enough for marketing. The movie poster didn't help. It featured Davidge and Jerry staring into the distance with a dark, colorless background. It looked cold, maybe even boring. And the trailer? Let's just say it didn't capture the heart of the story. So when Enemy Mine hit theaters, most people had no idea what to expect. And worse, those who went expecting action and lasers got a slow, emotional tale about friendship and grief. Some audiences walked out confused. Others were blown away. Fox later admitted they botched the campaign, saying it was a very hard film to categorize. They weren't wrong. That weird, unclassifiable tone is what gives Enemy Mine its charm. But it's also what doomed it at the box office. Number 13. The birth scene shocked 1980s audiences. In 1985, audiences weren't ready for what Enemy Mine had in store. Toward the end of the film, Jerry, Davidge's alien friend, dies while giving birth. The scene is heartbreaking. Davidge cradles the newborn, sobbing, while promising to raise it and carry on Jerry's legacy. It's intense, raw, and incredibly emotional. This was a bold move for a science fiction film. Most genre films at the time focused on action, not child-rearing. But here was a film where the main character becomes a single dad to an alien baby and takes that responsibility seriously. Behind the scenes, the birth was shot with animatronics, puppets, and layers of emotional performance. It took days to get the sequence right. Louis Gossett Jr. said it was one of the most emotional moments he'd ever filmed. The birth scene made some viewers uncomfortable, but others found it surprisingly moving. It reframed the whole movie, not as a war story, but as a story about fatherhood, trust, and legacy. And in that moment, Enemy Mine became something much deeper than just science fiction. Number 14. Critics were split, then slowly won over. When Enemy Mine came out in 1985, critics were not kind. Some praised the performances, especially Louis Gossett Jr.'s soulful turn as Jerry. But others called the movie slow, sentimental, or just plain strange. One critic said it was Close Encounters meets The Odd Couple, in space. Roger Ebert was one of the few champions of the film, giving it 3.5 out of 4 stars and praising its emotional depth and message about tolerance. But others dismissed it as a failed experiment in genre mixing. However, over the years, something changed. As the film made its way to home video and late-night TV, audiences started to appreciate it. Viewers who had skipped it in theaters finally saw its heart and connected with the message of enemies becoming family. Today, Enemy Mine holds a cult status. It's featured in lists of underrated 80s science fiction, and many modern critics call it ahead of its time. Turns out, all it needed was time, context, and people willing to watch a weepy alien birth scene without judging too hard.
I'm the one that's taking a stand. Remember, I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you sons of shit, Matt.
Yeah, whatever.
This war begun by you, a human!
Number 15. No CGI, just old-school movie magic. In a world before CGI, Enemy Mine relied entirely on practical effects. And it shows. Everything from the alien ships to the volcanic landscapes was made with miniatures, matte paintings, and in-camera tricks. The volcanic planet wasn't computer-generated. It was real lava fields in Lanzarote, enhanced with painted backdrops and atmospheric lighting. The alien baby, Zamis, wasn't CGI either. It was a puppet, controlled by wires and servos. Special effects crews worked long days to make it blink, breathe, and react emotionally. Even the spaceships were physical models, shot against black screens and layered with optical effects. The crashes, the escape pods, the Drac technology. It was all real stuff, filmed by hand, with no green screens in sight. The result? A gritty, tactile look that's missing from many modern science fiction films. You can feel the dust, the cold, the weight of the world. That texture, that realism. It's why Enemy Mine still holds up visually today, even without any digital help. So there you go. 15 weird facts about Enemy Mine. From alien pregnancy to Soviet fandom, this movie had way more going on than meets the eye. Whether you've seen it once or 20 times, hopefully now you'll watch it with a whole new perspective. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more crazy behind-the-scenes stories, and drop a comment below. What's your favorite underrated science fiction film? Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.